Welcome to another great episode of Transformed and Renewed. And for a minute, I had to think about that this will actually be the final episode of the year. Not final episode, but this is actually going to be us wrapping up this year in today's episode. So I hope that you are excited because we have discussed a lot throughout the year. So hopefully you have, taken some of the things that we have discussed and you have seen some positive changes. So if this is the first time checking us out, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on your screen. That way you can stay up to date with some of the content that we'll be sharing with you. Again, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. That way you can stay up to date. So tonight we are going to really dive into how you can really set some achievable goals starting today and even for 2023. And I know that there are many people who have already started their New Year's resolution in talking about different goals that they want to achieve. Some have even started to, submit their credit card information so they can start their gym plan or even meal plans. And nothing wrong with that. But I really think that it is important to really understand the foundation of setting goals because when you really set some achievable goals, now we're just not setting any goals, but we're setting some achievable goals, which means that once you set these goals, or even before you actually, put this on paper and you say, okay, I'm going to start executing, in your mind, you already know, okay, can I achieve this goal? And there are some other aspects to it which we will discuss. But I want to help you with that because I'm sure that there are many people who, find it very challenging when you set a New Year's resolution or even a goal, and somewhere along the line you feel that you're not able to be consistent or even achieve your goals. So I want to help you with that. So the first thing I would say when it comes to number one, just trying to target some goals. So let's say, for example, you want to lose weight. I usually like to use the SMART algorithm. And, for different people, they may use different techniques, but this is one because, from the SMART, which stands for, and I'm just going off the top of my head, specific, measurable, attainable, rewarding, as well as time based. Okay, so this is SMART. And so with this, it helps you to really further define your goal. So you say, I want to lose weight. Well, when you are specific, you're saying, okay, and you include the SMART aspect of it. You say, okay, I want to lose 150 pounds because 150 pounds is specific as well as it's measurable. So we can say, if we, for example, weigh 200 pounds and we are trying to get down to 150 or we are trying to lose 50 pounds, then we know that 50 pounds less weight is one of the goals and we can measure that versus just saying, I want to lose weight. And then you add another aspect of it, which is time. And I know I'm kind of jumping, but to really get the idea, it's saying, okay, I really want to lose 50 pounds by May or March or even next, December. And so we know that when we really put, a time on that by saying a month, or we can even say 2 months or even 3 months, this is also helping us to really add some additional factors that help us to really be specific when we're setting the goal. And then we say, okay, if I achieve, some of the small steps, so let's say if I lose 10 pounds, then I'm going to give myself a reward. The reward may not be something related to food, it could be, but it's good that the reward can be something other than food. It could be getting a massage, going bowling with your friends to celebrate losing 10 pounds. Because when you think about it, losing 10 pounds out of 50 pounds, you made 20% progress. And that is no small win. That is a big win, okay? Especially if you said, hey, it took me a while to just even lose 10 pounds. Listen, celebrate those victories, but another thing is to keep it moving. Don't get too comfortable because you got work to do. And the reason why I can tell you this because I actually had to do it myself. I had to lose weight in order to get to a certain range, with my nutrition goals, as well as my health goals, and then also to gain muscle. Okay, so it's kind of like I had to really be very intentional, as well as for me, I like to set goals that I know that I can achieve. So when it came to losing weight, it's not an issue for me. Now, I'm not saying for anyone else it's not an issue, but for me, it's not an issue because I already know what I need to do. I pretty much abide by my nutrition plan. I get my workouts in, and it's just a matter of seeing, okay, how much more do we need to drop in order to settle in this range, and then we can start to really build pump. So, again, for me, when it comes to the way I set goals, is I'm just a different person, and I know that there are other people who may have a similar mindset like myself in terms of sometimes when you know what you have to do, it's just settled in your mind. Versus other people really have to write it down, really have to take time to think about it, and so it's nothing wrong with that. But don't ever overlook that because when it comes to your health goals, you don't want to skip the foundational pieces, which is really understanding, okay, what are your goals? Okay, you say you want to lose weight and so you go to the gym, but let's really, continue with this writing process. Like, why is this goal important to you? What would really be a benefit out of this? Sometimes people may not realize that, whether it's losing weight or just even being toned, the additional benefits. Sometimes people have to get to the point where it gets very severe in terms of their health issues, such as having high blood pressure or even having high cholesterol levels. And you never want to get to that point because it's pretty much you're trying to work backwards by reversing what has already occurred. What we want to do is to prevent what can occur. Okay, so we don't want to try to reverse it because then it becomes so time consuming as well as straining when you're trying to treat, an illness versus preventing. It's easier to prevent it versus treating. When you're treating it, you have to really be intentional because otherwise your condition could get worse. So, when it comes again to health goals, one thing I will say is it's important to really stick with the foundational pieces. What is your why for your goal? And who would it benefit? Would it benefit your family? Are you really trying to, you know, improve your goal to, spend more time with your kids or even, your family? What is it about this goal that you are passionate about it? And then what is the time frame? Don't just put a time, say, well, within 2 years. Really make it, within 1 year or even shorter, but at least have some goals. And again, you don't even have to set one goal. You can set one goal, but then you can also set some sub goals. Okay, so let's say you wanted to build muscle. Well, there are sub goals. You may say, hey, I want to build 50 pounds of muscle. Well, based on my research and what I've read, usually building on at least 1 pound of muscle, um, I think within 1 to 2 weeks is typically normal. Okay, or even I think half a pound a week or within 2 weeks is normal. So when you think about 50 pounds of muscle, that's a lot of muscle. And so you have to also think about, okay, well, let me think about sub goals as well as what is really realistic, time based, okay, within, the parameters that I'm working with. So, so we talked about really being, intentional with your goals, understanding the foundational pieces such as, okay, what is the purpose of this goal? Okay, why do I want to lose this goal? Okay, you say again, I go back to the example of losing weight. Okay, so we know losing weight is the goal. Why? Well, I really want to reduce my risk of high blood cholesterol or just high blood pressure, to say the least. And so that is really getting more specific. and then you add the time frame in. I want to do this within 2 months, or I would say within 8 months, but at least within 2 months, I would like to see some improvements. Okay. And then you have some rewards because again, it can be very challenging to set goals when you don't have rewards in place when you make those small strides or your sub goals, you accomplish those. So it's important that you really, set those, because once you do, it makes you feel like you have accomplished something. And again, you have accomplished something. You are accomplishing your goal, and you're doing it step by step. Okay, and it's nothing wrong with that. So another thing that I want to elaborate on is, you know, when you're setting goals, it really involves, at least I believe, a holistic perspective. And when I say holistic, really, I always think from a spiritual standpoint in terms of, what does God really want me to focus on, as it pertains to my goal, what is God's, desire for me as I set these goals. Sometimes for me, I just really spend time just praying, meditating, and really getting my thoughts together before I really commit to doing anything, because I like to really understand, okay, even if I achieve this goal, is it for God's glory or is it just for me? Because if it's not for God's glory, then I'm just going to be doing something. And at the end, I may start to feel slightly void, empty, that feeling that you're just not accomplished. And I realized that in order to avoid that, I really have to take my mentality up a level. Okay. So, spiritual standpoint, another one is nutritional standpoint. I see so many people, and I'm not calling no names at all. That's not what I do, but I will say that I have observed different people who believe that eating whatever and then, praying about it, Lord, just I pray that these pounds just don't pack on me. It doesn't work that way, okay? Some people, I'm not even gonna say it may, but I know everyone is different. But you have to really be intentional when it comes to your nutrition. I see so many videos on social media about different foods that people create, whether it's heavy in oils or just fried, or it's just very rich. And when you think about it, it's it's hard for a person to eat that and then just switch to eating right. Most people don't do that just because of your body, your flesh. Your flesh is not used to switching over like that, especially when your flesh doesn't have to eat right. Okay. So if you know your mind, like, hey, I'm not under, a nutrition plan or meal plan, I'm just going to keep eating whatever. But you have to realize that the muffin top that people like to call or love handles, the flab, stubborn fat, yeah, it's stubborn just because you got to put in the work to get it off, okay? That stubborn fat is there for a reason. That's why you have a lot of people telling you to consume fruits and vegetables and whole foods, because these are going to be foods that you can actually eat, and they don't, put on that stubborn fat, especially when you eat them in the correct amounts or the recommended amounts. Okay. So I will say that when it comes to the nutritional aspect, don't neglect that. Nutrition is very, very important. What you put in your body, I like to think of as fuel. If you put in so much food in your body, you have to realize something is going to stay and something is going to go. And it's important that you really understand what should go and what should stay. Okay. Some just stay automatically, but it's good to understand the portions as well as the type of foods that you should consume that will help you or support your health goals. And just to touch on two final ones before we wrap up. So I talked about spiritual aspect, and then I talked about nutritional. Another one is physical, which means you got to put your body to work. You got to exercise. And I know, again, that may not be something most people want to do, but I will say that it is going to be important, because when you are exercising, this really helps you. It improves just so many systems in your body, your heart rate. It improves your blood pressure. It prevents you from, feeling so tired when you go up 5, steps. Okay, especially when you have 20 more steps to go. After those 5, with exercise, you won't feel tired if you're doing it consistently. You will even sometimes me, I just want to run up the stairs and keep on running. Not to say you won't get slightly winded, but it is it is a good feeling that you can walk up the steps more than 5 or even 10 steps without getting winded. And so exercise is going to be very important, as well as consistency. Think about exercise as well as eating healthy as like a necessary, okay, for good health. And then the last component is just mental. Like, how are you mentally doing? Just think about, okay, if I achieve this goal and I'm really consistent with it, the how will my mind really be? And I can tell you that for me, I've actually been able to think a lot better, a lot clearer, especially just being consistent with my goals, because it was at a point to where I said, okay, I know I can do it, and now I'm at a point to say I've done it, and I'm continuing to set higher goals and achieve those. And so once you really get into that rhythm, that pace, and again, this all started because we set the foundation with our goals. We understood, okay, this is my goal. Let me really be specific, and let me put a time on this, as well as let me ensure that I'm having rewards for these goals. And then let me make sure that these goals are attainable, which means that I can control, how I'm able to or I guess I can control, how successful I can be with these goals. Okay, I'm not going to create anything that I know that I can't do, but this is actually within my reach. Like, me picking up, a piece of paper that's attainable. I can control that. And so, again, I hope that these tips have helped you to really, think about how you can really set some attainable goals starting today and for 2023, because I want to see you successful. And so by the end of 2023, or even throughout, I want you to share your testimony with me, or even just share, like, hey, I really stuck with the goal. I wrote it down and I was consistent with it. And Jerry, I'm here to tell you that I have made some progress. I want to hear that because, you know, me hearing that makes me excited. And it also lets me know that there are people who are really, in one place of saying, you know what, I started this way and, I didn't know if I could do it, but, just a little push. And I'm not saying that I'm doing a lot, but I'm just giving you just a little push to really say, okay, let me really do this a little differently. Let me be consistent, and let me see what great is going to happen. Not let me see what's going to happen, but let me see what is great going to happen. Okay. So it's all about your words. You got to really, speak life over your goals. Okay. So with that, hope that you enjoyed this segment. Make sure you like and subscribe again. If you are a first time visitor, or if you're a returning guest, show some love because I appreciate it. And I see some love already. So I thank you so much for this. Listen, great content is coming. I want you to know that we have been doing this almost a year roughly. I think we started I can't remember when we started, but I do know that we have been doing this for a while. And I want you to know that it's only going to get better and better. So, again, I thank you, family. Thank everyone who has supported us at Robot 1212. Again, I want you to know that we are going to continue to bring you some amazing content. And again, hope you enjoyed this segment. And if I don't get a chance to talk to you before January 1st, hope you enjoy your new year. Stay safe, be safe, and God bless.